December 14th, 2020. We have a roll call for board member attendance, please. Peter?
Present.
Peter Lowett. Yanni Tsitsits.
Yeah.
Doug Bacon.
Present.
Jim Burns.
Present.
Lee Smith is present. Liz Rust, our trustee assistant, is also present. All right. Do you want to do minutes of the November 23rd meeting first?
Sure. Approve. Peter?
Is there a second?
Second.
So as far as further discussion, I think there's a reference in the second paragraph, meeting convened, and said also constitutes the CHTC annual meeting,
I'm
which
sorry.
I think
Yes.
was actually our prior meeting.
Yep,
So if
that
we
was a
could delete
mistake.
that.
Yep.
I had no further revisions. Anybody else?
No.
I have none.
All right. All in favor of approving the minutes? I need a roll call. Peter?
Aye.
Yanni?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Lee? Aye. All right. Financial reports.
Okay. I think you have a different layout, which was in the package provided by Liz. And basically, it's an attempt on my part to make it a little clearer about how much money was spent last month and partly this month. And it's pretty simple. But basically, the amount of money available is $134,960, which is just a bit less than what it was a month before. I mentioned in this write-up, which I believe you have, that I really want to add a few more things to the analysis, particularly for get an idea how things are going compared to the past. But I've been having some trouble with my computer and an application. Maybe I can get that fixed up so that next month I'll have something that's a little bit more interesting. But basically, we're back again, just kind of a normal situation. We're not spending an awful lot of money. But I would like to make it a little bit more interesting to look at it. I mean, this thing is basically it's kind of a bore to look at it, but that's the way it is, I guess.
All right. Any improvements that you want to make? We welcome them.
Yeah, I'll listen. I know what I want to do. Some of what I had done, some months ago, but I had something happen to the computer and something happen elsewhere, and I'm having trouble with it. So I have to fix that. And I want to. I think when things really start rolling with, I presume in a few months or so, we'd like to have a little bit more information as how things are going and how they have gone. So I'd like to kind of come up with that. That's all I have to say. If somebody has suggestions or displeased, let me know.
Any comments?
I just wanted to add, so thank you, Jim, for all that. And then also in your packet is, there's really three parts of the financial picture. There's from the bookkeeping. They have 3 pages there. Jim provides his report. And then I have the little bit of a longer term, the budget and how the end of the year looks, and then the future years, like the 5-year look. So, and as Jim mentioned, there's not that much activity. But there's probably $60,000 left to spend this year. Really, the sewer subsidy to the Habitat project, that's really the big piece of the $50,000 that's been put aside for Habitat. And I think come the spring, that will really, come into play. So right now, I think it was like $135,000 essentially in the bank. The projection is that the year would end at 70. And so then that starts to be, less money, obviously. And so that the money really runs out by FY23. Essentially, there's no money, So, so that's really something to work on next year or earlier, whatever.
Actually,
Well,
I didn't include that information, which I've been using the last several months because I ran out of time, quite frankly.
But it's in the packet.
It should be there. Yeah, I know.
It is.
I like to put it here too.
Yeah.
So just to make it a little bit more comprehensive. So if I could stretch things a little bit more, maybe I could do it, but I didn't have the stretchability the last few weeks.
Well, and it's already here, so there's not,
Yeah.
there's not more, or you could take over this, but it's, you know, it's already information that's there. So,
Right.
but what were you going to say something, Lee, too?
just as far as us depleting our funds over the next few years,
Yeah.
we've applied to the Community Preservation Committee for an award or recommendation for town meeting appropriation of $500,000. Liz participated in one meeting. I participated in a second meeting last week, and it seemed like the consensus was that was maybe too much to ask for, but I do expect we'll be getting some amount. It should be at least in the six-figure range.
Mhm.
And there is also the availability of the free cash appropriation for affordable housing purposes. That's under the control of the town manager, the direction of the select board. So things aren't quite as dire as they sound, but those are important things to keep on the horizon in terms of other sources of funds for us.
Right. Right. And so that those are more program funds for creating units, and what's really in your budget are the operating funds to keep the organization with proper accounting and you know, like those kind of administrative expenses, which are not really usually covered by those funding sources. And the small grants program. I mean, that's really the consideration of without any other source of funds, whether to terminate that program or reduce it or something. I don't know. You know, I don't want to be an alarmist, but yeah.
What a great segue.
Yeah. So are you ready for that?
Any further discussion on financial matters?
Yeah, for the small grant program, I think it's next in the agenda packet.
All right, go ahead.
There's two pieces of this. There's the summary sheet. This is applicant 72. And following that in the packet is the details of all of the applicants so that you could see all that. And this applicant is a, let me just see, get my information so I can see it. Oh, I didn't include that column. Yeah, that's a problem. Sorry about that. So this applicant lives in a deed restricted property, and many of the more recent small grant awards have been made to owners of deed restricted properties. This person bought their property just this last May, I think, something like that. Maybe it was March, sorry. And almost immediately the boiler failed. And so they had an emergency repair. And you can see here in the summary, emergency repair. In fact, the town of Concord turned off the gas because of the dangerous situation. And they couldn't turn the heat back on until the repair was complete. They did provide three estimates, sorry. And, but they really had to go forward and have the repair. So they picked Papalia, and they had these three invoices that are shown here. And so that they're asking for a reimbursement. This would be a reimbursement of $4,122.
Motion to approve the reimbursement request. This is an emergency situation. I think it's money well spent. Second.
Right, further discussion? Liz, can you remind us what our current maximum award per application is?
$4,000.
This is 4,200 or something?
122.
Or, yeah.
Ugh.
You know, it's your program, so you can make an exception for that small amount or just keep to the 4,000. Thank you for asking that, Lee. I'd forgotten that piece. Because it used to be 5, it was just reduced.
I think we should make an exception.
Okay by me.
It's fine with me too. I agree.
Yes.
All right, I will join the consensus. So any further discussion? All right, roll call vote to approve the award to applicant number 72 in the amount of $4,122. Peter,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Yanni,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Lee votes yes as well. Thank you.
Thank you. They'll be very happy. Thank you very much. Okay, so what do you have next? Sorry.
The main
Uh,
is,
Junction Village. That's what it says.
Okay, so the Main Street piece?
Well, we've got 3 Main Street items that are all below the agenda, then number 5, the Junction Village update. So why don't we start with number 5, Junction
Okay.
Village update.
sure.
Oh, yeah, sure. I see we do, yes. So the only update I have, I mean, it's really been a little slow, is I guess there's 2 parts, right? There's the open space and then there is the residential Grantham part of the project, right? And we'll always status update both of those separate pieces. So the open space, we had, I think we reported it last time, we had the kickoff meeting and then I think someone in the office got COVID and they shut down the engineering firm, right? Where we
Yeah.
didn't know. I mean, he had someone in his office who came in sick and this and we hadn't really heard back. So I'm just assuming that they had a little quarantine going on there and then they, sort of put a couple of week pause on that and I don't think that they finished the tagging work, but there was not a lot of, he did not have a lot of concerns about tagging the trees or doing any of that work, right? So that's really on the baseline conditions. The next part about the open space is the seating of the open space task force. And I have seen that the select board appointed a number of people. I think I should have written that down right. They appointed 3 people, which I don't know any of them. So, let me, do you want their names? I don't know, 3 or 4 people. And I think that just happened last week. I think, the appointments are a 2-cycle approach with the select board. And I haven't heard anything more about that in terms of, having a kickoff meeting with them or what. And I don't know whether I'm going to even support them as a committee. I haven't been given that assignment from the town. So I'm kind of on hold with that as well.
There's supposed to be 5 total members.
Yeah, Kristen, do you know about the Council on Aging person there? I don't mean to put you on the spot. That's not fair. Sorry.
No, that's fine, but I don't know.
Okay. Let me just look and see.
Would you like to volunteer?
I don't know.
I think they were looking for the historic. There was someone from the historic perspective that needed to be on the committee. All right, so then they had, thank you. They have someone from the West Concord Advisory Committee. Natural Resources Commission, Historic Commission, and Council on Aging and at large. So yes, 5 people. So I don't know of the people they appointed who met which criteria, I think is really the question that I would have. And so,
Are you suggesting that somebody from the COA has already been or is to be, or we don't know?
I just don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. Okay, well, we have a meeting this week and I can ask there as well.
So they have Krista Collins, Sue Felshen. Felshen, is that how you say her name? Peter knows her, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Robert Hartman and Harry Bartlett. And I don't know who is who in terms of how those members map to the constituencies desired, right? So I don't know. Okay, so that's that part of the open space, right? So that's in process. I assume that will sort out, and I would think a kickoff meeting probably in January, because that's pretty close to being seated. That's 4 of the 5. And then the other part for the CHDC would be to start to look for a landscape architect. So the engineering firm provides here's how the parcel looks, and the landscape architecture firm works with the committee to help design the trails and the signage and, like whatever's going to actually happen on the site. So I thought that the work for the committee here, the CHDC, would be to look at what the scope would be, understand scope of services, and then find someone to award that scope of work with. So that's kind of coming up. So that would be maybe like a January item or something. I don't know.
I'd
Okay.
suggest competitively procuring that.
Yep.
At least getting 3 quotes.
agree.
Yeah, I think so. Exactly. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what's happening there. And then on the residential front, the TIF agreement was, I think, mostly approved by the state. I don't know if it was conditional or, it wasn't the final TIF agreement, was not submitted to the state, but it was signed by the town manager, but not by the select board. I think it had to be signed by both. But it was approved, and it was presented to the state at their state approval meeting of the EDIC. So that's really well on its way, if not complete. And in terms of other, like the financing, that's really the big piece there, is getting financing commitment. The vaccine really is good news for those investing in assisted living. So that's good. That's good. There's been a little bit of a pause on the investors just waiting. It's a difficult, segment of housing, the nursing homes, assisted living, and all of that, right? So hopefully things move forward. I think there might be a little bit of a delay. There was, some thought that June would be the closing. It might extend into the summer, based on where we are now.
All right.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's appropriate for this group. 3 things. First of all, can you just explain briefly what the TIF agreement is? And the Council on Aging had 2 questions, which I don't know if you are the ones to answer it, but Ginger in particular, the director, was concerned or had questions about what information about the services and transportation that are intended to be provided there, and are there services being provided by Junction Village, or are they hoping the COA will be able to provide transportation, because that would be a big increase to the services currently being provided. And then the second one is just about the egress. Is it all through, is the access all through Winthrop? I just didn't know enough about the plan.
Yeah.
Yes, the access is through Winthrop. I can look through, it would be in the comprehensive permit agreement if any commitments have been made on the services and transportation. I don't remember offhand, but I can look into that.
Is it something I should look through that you could refer me to, or is that something that you would look into and get back to me?
I could do a little looking into that.
Okay. I mean, obviously it would be a large number of residents, so she was just concerned about what might be coming down for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, and sorry, what's the TIF agreement?
Oh, the TIF agreement, that's what was voted on at town meeting. That's the tax incremental financing.
Got it. Thank
In
you.
return for creating X number of jobs, they get their taxes lowered for a certain period of time.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on Junction Village? Hearing none, 2229 Main Street.
Well,
Looks like we got a draft of the current version of the report by that study committee
that's right.
that I will confess I have not read through yet. But we did, just as a reminder, submit some suggested language for a section or parts of that as relates to housing and what we see as issues requiring further investigation and discussion. And I think it would be helpful maybe at our next meeting if we provided any comments that we wanted to make, if any.
Yeah, I'll just make one from my glance. It looks like they included most of the or all of the edits that Lee and Liz had put together, but they misspelled my name in the.
Oh my goodness.
I noted the expert subject matter expertise that they called out for you, Peter. I didn't,
Well, maybe
Well-
we can express mail that revision to Kristen, who might know someone who could
I'll
fix
let
it.
Gary know immediately.
Thank you.
Jim, maybe
Yeah.
Jim wants to say a few words because he had some thoughts on this and he had highlighted the report to me so I could include it in the materials.
Please.
The hope was, Gary, that we get some feedback. I'm looking at this in early January. In other words, and so my question was, can we ask members of, my question is, can members of our committee, CHDC, provide before, let's say, January 8th, rather, can they provide what they think of the plan? Or is that something that only you'd want to have the entire CHDC make it, a single discussion? I would hope that maybe we could get feedback from individual members. Read the report. It's long, but you could actually concentrate perhaps on the section dealing with housing. That may be perhaps an easier way to do it, and then provide some insight. If that were done, should that insight be sent to Liz? And then I could turn it over to Gary, or I don't know, I don't want to have it sent to me. I might be arrested for not handling things correctly. I don't know. But I think it would be useful to get early thought on it. If you remember, it was a little over a year ago. It was October when we had a similar activity and all information was sent to us again. And actually members of the CHDC was not 100% comments. And in this case, I think it's essential that we really get 100% comments of what this member organization believes is useful. That's my question.
I like that approach. I guess I'll ask each member to review it, and if there are comments or questions, to send them directly to Liz, and then maybe Liz could circulate them to the full board, and depending on what they look like, you know, there may be nothing controversial that necessarily requires, you know, an official statement by our board, but, you know, alternatively, there could be something we want to discuss in detail. If that's the case, I note that our next meeting is scheduled for January 11th. So you want to wait and see what they look like, and perhaps move our meeting to the first week of January if necessary.
So is the, I see that the comments were due by January 8th. Is that because, Jim, you have a committee meeting then, or what's the significance of that date?
I hate to say it, but when I saw that, I didn't ask that question. I don't have the next meeting in turn. I'll find out if that would be helpful with, you know, contact Gary. I think really what he's trying to do is to get things cleaned up so that he can provide the information for the select board. The date is March 5. I don't know how solid that is. So I think what he's trying to do, put numbers down in order to get something complete. And if it were a matter of waiting a few days, as you said, the 11th, I believe, I think that would go. I'm quite sure of that. But I'll certainly contact him and say, this is what we'd like to do. Can you live with it? Is that all right?
Sure. And it may be that, you know, our comments are minor enough so that we don't need to wait, but, you know, for that meeting. But what if we ask for people's comments by Liz by January 6th?
I see that your group, Jim, is meeting January 8th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, I just looked, that's the next time. So that's why the 8th would be, you know, important to get them in for that meeting.
We'll see how, yeah. There's one other thing, excuse me, this is part of it. There's also a collection of, let me look for the right word. Really not files, pictures that were put together also to try and exhibit or make clear what the goal or is that has been created. And so in terms of reading, what is it? I forget how many papers there are, something like 50 pages or so. This is a smaller amount. It might be help to look at that quickly. And I can make, you know, I can get a hold of that particular and send it to the community, or I could give it to Liz and she could send it out. It was not provided at the time I sent this to Liz. So it might be useful.
I mean, these are things that are not in the draft report.
In a sense, they're not there. It's a different way of looking at it. One may not have to read it, but it's there in case you have to take a different look at it. That's the way it was set up.
Because there are a number of pictures and site maps and visuals in the report.
Be like this, you know, pictures that give a sense of what's going on. Maybe it's not as essential as the document, but it might be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can just send a link, and then the person can get it because it's available or not if they wish.
Mm-hmm.
Because really what we're dealing with is the document that you put in what we're talking now.
Which I just got from the link that you had sent me. That's all I did, was just to make it easier for everybody, right?
So, I mean, if you want, I think it's probably worth, if I give you the link and you can look at it and say, I don't care about it, but it's there. Or not.
Yeah, send it to Liz.
I'm sorry?
Send it to Liz.
Thank you. Is that okay? Fine.
Sure.
Jim, I've asked this question before, and I'm sorry I don't remember the answer. Who owns the land now?
It's not owned by the town. The company that had it went bankrupt, so I don't know who really owns the land.
Okay.
people, there'll have to be money spent in order to get it. But I don't know how much.
You don't think it's the government?
No, some, the government will provide some, yes, but there's
No,
some, the town is gonna have to put some money up, and I don't know what that amount is.
Might the government be the owner?
I don't know.
Okay,
There may be the owner now. They're certainly doing a lot, putting a lot of money into cleaning that place up. Whether they actually have contracts or have whatever to say that they own that land, that's a good question. I should have known it, but I don't know. I'm sure
Okay.
someone said it escaped me.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Probably
Gary.
in the report.
Yeah, if Gary, I'm not with Gary. The main point is that it's not Concord until it's all cleaned up.
The town doesn't own it. The town will have to make action to get it. And it will cost some money, but I don't know how much it is. That's all part of the program.
So who,
And for what it's worth, Gary did say they can wait until the like, you know, if your comments come after the 11th, he said that's okay. They can wait until the 11th to put out the public report.
And the public records has it as the owner, StarMet National Corporation with an address in South Carolina. So
That makes sense.
based on the public records, the StarMet owns the land.
thank you.
Thank you. I think there's some complicated title issues with the land though,
Just
as you
one
might
more.
imagine, right?
It's just
Um,
littered with it.
Yeah, I think there's like 10 or a dozen kind of title concerns.
Yeah, and
I think we've seen those, or somehow they're available from town council, and so that there is some unwinding of clear title there.
that's
I
right.
don't think detailed out in the report. I don't think it's the scope of the report to talk through that strategy.
But I think my understanding was that based on some meetings that I, in a couple meetings that I had attended, that the town will receive the land at no cost to us. So it will be free and clear of all liens, and it will be a no cost to the town, completely no cost to the town. And it will be to the environmental clean standards of residential. So
Yeah.
that was the understanding, my understanding anyways.
But the town has to take action in order to get the land. It isn't going to go to the town without action, which will be a combination of legal and everything else.
Thank you. Is Lee here? Lee, are you here?
Yeah, I'm
still?
here. Sorry, give me one second.
Yep, okay. Just checking, just checking.
All right. So we'll get Liz comments by January 6th. And then we can decide how to proceed at our meeting on the 11th.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for that, Jim. 9:30 Main Street update.
No update. I mean, they're doing marketing, so they're starting to get applications and all of that, and so they're just progressing. So that's just a holdover to always have that update, but there's no significant milestone or an issue to discuss.
All right. And a late breaking item, Main Street subdivision,
Right.
which there's some plans in the packet that Liz circulated beginning
Yep.
on
12.
page 12. So
Yeah, I
Liz,
had a
do you
little-
want to?
I do, thank you. Yeah, I had a little, I hope you can read them. I had a little technical difficulty getting my comments onto the plans with that little text box up there in the corner. But can you see that? Hopefully, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is late breaking, and so it was really like, make sure that we could get this in here. So I'm just gonna read you this, right? Okay, so the town has so this was a request from Elizabeth Hughes and the planning department is where this came from. So the town has an inclusionary housing bylaw, which is, and then here's the link to it. And this bylaw language was then incorporated into the planning board's subdivision rules and regulations under section 6.21. And under that bylaw, there's a lot reservation system or process or requirement, which is an aspect of the zoning whereby a certain number of building lots are reserved for affordable housing. And in this development, it's a total of 3 lots are required to be reserved. This
What's the total
aspect,
number of lots?
we will count them up when we get there.
So I counted them. They're creating 16, but then they did A&R lots, they gave some land to the owners. So there's 23 lots in total. There's 16 that are created as part of the subdivision plan. And then the balance are A&R or retained by the former owner. And those are along Main Street and this existing street off to the right.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you there. And under the reservation, the town has the option to purchase 1 or more lots for the purpose of affordable housing at market value for the next 3 years, during which time town meeting can decide to purchase them or not, or the town can give the right to purchase to another entity. Wasn't quite sure if that required a town meeting vote or it's just the select board, or can ultimately decide to release the restriction for money. So the developer would say, I would like to release the restriction, I'll give you X amount of money, and the town, and I think the only time I'm aware that this happened, I believe it was the select board that allowed the release of the restriction, but we can find out about those details.
So I read your comments. This is Peter.
Mhm.
And you indicated that there were 3 single-family lots in the 10,000 range, and that were being suggested by the planning department. And you noted that there were also a number of lots that would allow us to have duplexes,
Mhm.
and those are 20,000 and above like lot 10.
Mhm.
My actual suggestion here would be that we reserve lot 10 and then trade off the other 2 lots for the funds to construct it.
Okay, let me just finish my notes and then we can talk about that, right? So the developer, and so in this, the staff offered lots 5, 13, and 16. The planning board heard that. There's also, right, this 20,000 square foot that you could build a duplex, and the planning board is asking the housing community to review and suggest lots. So there's one page there so you can see where this is and all the streets around it, which is probably like where we all live right around here, right? Or many of us do. And then the second page has the detailed lots that Peter just talked about. Okay. So going into, does everyone have that material and looking at that and seeing what we're talking about? I just wanted to get through my spiel and then to open it up. I think, Peter, yeah, I mean, that's an option. I don't know that the action for the for lifting the reservation comes from the town. That would be, I think it's, requested by the developer for the money, but yes, but I hear what you're saying. Let me just take some notes. Let me just see if I can see that you're suggesting that.
Suggesting we take one of the lots that would allow a duplex as of right, and then release the other 2 and take the payment in lieu from that to be used to construct the duplex as 2 affordable units.
Mhm.
Is there any data on the costs associated with this?
No. So I don't know. You'd have to pay to buy it. You'd pay market value for the lot, whatever that might be. I don't really know.
Yeah, that's going to be 6 or 7.
Right, and then you have to go to town meeting for that, right? So it would be, yeah, I don't know.
When are they expecting a response from us?
Tonight. They're right in the middle of the hearing. They heard this. There was enough discussion about it, so they wanted to get other people involved. And so here you are. They're going to try to see about getting, I think the 22nd, the planning board is finalizing their decision on the 22nd. So that, I think that's a week from tomorrow. So,
Let me see if I understand this. If each lot would be worth $1, and we want to take a lot that's double the size, it would be worth $2 presumably, and give up 2 lots. Is that sort of the way it works? That we would want a lot that's worth $2, but we give up $2 worth of lots, 2 other smaller
well, the
lots?
developer, I think under the zoning, the developer has to reserve 3 lots.
Yes.
Now, so that would be, the decision would have that, and then a subsequent, so this would be a subsequent agreement with the developer to pay the town money, and the town would release the reservation of 2 of the lots, and that money would be channeled into the development on the other lot, right? I think that's what you're saying.
Does the developer have to give up the double lot?
No, no.
He doesn't.
Is there an element of this that obligates the developer to build and then sell an affordable unit?
No.
The only requirement is that they reserve, in this instance, 3 lots for affordable housing, and then it's our problem how to figure that out.
Yes, and to purchase them at market value.
Do we know what that is?
No. But I think that, it's going to be what, $400,000,
No,
500, 200, 300,
5 to 7,
5 to 7, just for the lots, no house.
no house.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Right.
Yana, you're on mute.
Have you checked your mail lately? The mail you get from the real estate people's asking to buy your house?
Well, it's gonna be about 1/3 of the complete cost, and roughly the lots on Main Street right now is about 450 to 500 per 10,000 square feet lot, roughly right now.
Mhm.
So if we can, I think if we can strike a deal, like Peter said, and maybe not only reserve and get those double lots, but also have an agreement with the developer to build it for us, that will be a win-win situation, because then we have 2 units at no cost to us.
Yeah,
Because if we're gonna go ahead and build it, it's gonna cost us nowadays, after COVID, materials and everything has gone up. But we're looking at about $300 per square foot, roughly, construction cost. So
I just don't think the history of this particular project that the developer is going to willingly negotiate to build any affordable units here. This
not
is-
even if we give them
This
2
is,
of the
I
lots.
mean, Peter probably has more background in this particular project and the permitting and this, the neighborhood involvement, I think.
yeah, it's got a contentious history. So it went from a discretionary permit to now they're going the as of right path using subdivision to avoid having to negotiate with the town. But they're still required to do this, and a negotiation is still a negotiation, whether it's done by the planning board or the board of selectmen. They've got to give 3 lots. I still think
Mhm.
the concept of acquiring 1 lot that you could do a duplex on and trading off releasing the other 2 for either the cost of the lot or the payment in lieu that could be applied toward the cost of the lot and construction would be an approach worth bringing to the planning board's attention.
Yep. So which lots, if we look at the actual lot numbers, so for the lot to negotiate for, you like lot 10?
Yeah, it's anyone that there are 10 and 11 both allow, and there's one other one that you mentioned that are
Number 7.
plexes as of right.
Yeah, there's
Number-
lot 7, but lot
Yeah.
7's pretty wet back there.
Yeah, it's pretty big though, but it's it's the one of the biggest lots, 22, so 1,000
Yeah.
square feet.
Yeah. But I don't know, do we reduce the lot size based on the amount of wetlands on a site when we're determining lot size?
No, I think these are, well, I'm just taking this site map, you know, at face value.
So, yeah, so I would just say, you know, either lot 7, lot 10, or lot 11. And one of those three, and then release the other 2 single-family lots from the.
And you don't have any preference for which those other 2 are?
No, I mean, not off the top of my head, no.
Yep.
As long as it's as of right to build a duplex.
Mhm.
Well, are the duplex that they're gonna build, are they gonna be the same square footage or one lot is gonna?
No, they're not building any duplexes.
They're not,
No, they're just building plain, single-family homes.
okay,
$1 million homes.
$1 million homes, right?
okay.
So that means the other 2 lots that were suggested, we should ask for ones that are really valuable, so they'll want to trade for them.
Yeah. So what did staff
Well, they offer us
offered?
5, 13, and 16. 5 is a very good lot.
Yeah.
16 is on the front, and 13, it's not bad actually as a lot. I mean,
Yeah, and 13's right next to that, they're gonna have like a little, you know, town-owned, it's not really gonna be a park, but it'll be a little bit of open space.
no, both 5 and 13 are very, very good lots. 16 is right
Yeah.
as you come in, you know, the second lot, but you're not on
Mhm.
Main Street, so that's not a bad lot either. I mean,
Yeah,
if you could trade that for something better, so later on maybe we can trade for something else or negotiate, I think we could do that. But 5 and 13 looks actually very good.
yeah, so ask for 5, 13, and 10.
Okay,
And let the planning board know our strategy, you know, in terms
Mhm.
of building a duplex on lot 10 and trading away the rights for the others in order to finance the project.
sounds good to me.
Do we want to be the owner of the retained lot, the purchase lot?
Well, that's a town meeting, right?
Yeah, I plead agnostic on that front, but yeah, one of our, you know, affordable housing groups should probably own it. Or,
It'd be the CHDC would be the best.
yeah,
I think the answer, I would say the answer would be yes. And then the CHDC can decide how to dispose or build or what's going on there. But I don't know if that's important now because I think it would have to go to town meeting. At least that's what I understood. Did I lose-
Yeah.
I lost my thing.
more about that, that would be good. But I think because of the timeliness, we do that. And then if they get, you know, then I think we should put Yanni in the room with him and have him negotiate for us.
Sure, I would gladly do that.
All right, is that a comprehensive enough response for what they're looking for,
Yeah.
Liz?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just reading the notes here. So under the reservation, the town has the option to purchase one or more lots for the purpose of affordable at market value for the next 3 years, during which time town meeting can decide to purchase them or not. So that would be the process there, right? So that it would be bringing it to town meeting to release the restriction on 5 and 13. And for a cost by the developer, and then those monies would be used to, or in exchange for providing the CHDC lot 10.
Yeah, or, yeah, lot 10, and or it depends on what the payment in lieu is.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know how it happened last time. The only one I'm aware of, there was like on Munson Road, there was one. And the developer wanted to release the restriction early and the town got $60,000. So it wasn't a huge amount of money, and the market value of the lot was significant. So I'm not sure, but I don't know the particulars of that
Yeah.
project.
Negotiating with them. So,
Mhm. Yeah. I will convey this to Elizabeth Hughes and see if this is what she's looking for and what have you.
all right.
Thank you, Peter. That's good thinking out of the box. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, do we have any other business? Do we have any public comment? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Look at that, 6 o'clock. Adjourn.
Right, all
Just
in favor by roll call. Peter, did we just lose Peter? I guess he was ready to go. All right, well, since he moved it, I will take that as a yes vote. Yanni, Doug, Jim,
Yes.
Lee, yes. All right, we are adjourned. I've got the